Good evening once again, book lovers of the internet. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I am Book Nerd 802, and in this video, I am going to be reviewing two more chapters from the story that one of my subscribers, Pebs, has been sending me recently. He kindly sent me chapters 2 and 3. Now, chapter 2 came with the title The Good Guard, chapter 3 came with no title, and I found some time to read both chapters and write some thoughts about them. I am really captivated and immersed with what is going on, especially now that I have been given plenty of information about Kyo and the context which surrounds him. Kyo is our protagonist, by the way, and it's a fantastic story so far. Fantasy, dystopian. There is a lot which I am missing, of course, but that is the fun of it because I have several chapters yet to be sent. Feel free to send me chapters 4, 5, and 6, by the way, if you are watching Pebs. I must admit that the fact that Kyo's dream is some sort of premonition is quite predictable, but a fun topic to write about regardless. This is something that I have seen in several of the fantasy books which I have come across. There is nothing wrong with it entirely. As I mentioned in the first video, it might come across as slightly generic, but that is overshadowed by the way that the story is written in and by how much suspense there actually is there, so I am not complaining. I don't understand how Kyo seems to be so wealthy when everyone is living in a state of poverty, save for the king and a few others. So I say this because he basically had 3 gold coins to spare in order to save a man's life, after all, and one thing you can do is to explain how the currency works in order to help the reader further understand which people are suffering and how scarce resources truly are. Um, Explain the economy a bit better of the world you are writing about, and Kyo, having been from the upper city originally, makes plenty of sense, and I look forward to reading more about that segment from our protagonist's life. At this stage, it might also come across as a bit of a spoiler. I mean, having read so much fantasy, I can imagine what will probably happen next. I will also go into this when I review chapter 3 in a few moments. Basically, so far, this is pretty much a Hunger Games sort of situation where the wealthy grow wealthier and the poor suffer eternally, and they are left with no hope. And I would think that Karn would probably know more as to what is going on behind the scenes and would probably be able to help Kyo rather than simply warn him not to bring certain topics up or um, keep him in the dark. Honestly, this chapter is titled The Good Guard, so I think Karn is meant to be one of the good characters, but to me, he did come across as rather shady, as a person who has quite a few secrets and who does not have Kyo's best interests at heart, unlike Twig, the elderly woman, who seems like a person who genuinely wants Kyo to pay attention to what is going on and supports him. There is a motherly figure, a motherly instinct about her. She wants the best for him. And yeah, I mean, Karn does come across as shady, so my prediction is that at some stage or other he'll probably betray his friend. He has known Kyo for most of his life, and it would make sense for Karn to betray him if King Berold comes into the mix. I really enjoyed what you did in the first chapter, by the way, alternating between Berold and Kyo's perspectives, but I understand how that's not sustainable, not feasible for the entirety of the story, and it makes more sense that you're dealing with the chapters in this manner instead. So we have one character at a time. Chapter 3 also turned out to be from Kyo's perspective, so perhaps try to alternate a bit more. Um, so that even when the suspense does build up, there isn't too much build up of suspense, and no matter what you write, the readers might be disappointed. Try to avoid that. I think that is a bit of feedback which could help you. So alternate more frequently. Then we can move on to my thoughts on chapter 3. I feel as though it's a pretty solid mix of Wolverine and Winter Soldier, what with Six and Noah, two newly introduced characters. There is much about Kyo which I would love to learn, and I am certainly looking forward to reading more, especially about Kyo's past at the stage, or his ability to perhaps see the future, or find himself in situations which will help him in the future. I feel as though that is what is going to happen. And I have a feeling that King Berold is trying to recreate Noah, this kind of superhuman being who can recover from injuries very, very quickly. And King Berold is trying to recreate this monster, this creature in his dungeon, so that he'd be able to use it for war and perhaps create an entire army. Now, Kyo's instinct was to protect Noah, as was Noah's intention to protect Kyo, but Six burst into the scene and dealt with Noah rather abruptly, and I am also in suspense as to why that had to happen or why Noah felt the need to protect Kai at all. We don't know plenty about Noah, and we don't know much about Kai's past either. In fact, we hardly know anything at this stage in the story. And I suspect that Kai is perhaps King Berold's son, or at the very least, he might have noble blood. In fact, I think that might be a given, a bit of a definite, even though we are not told um, we aren't told precisely, assuredly, that he does have noble blood, but it's a pretty logical assumption to make. I would say that the action sequence in this chapter was fantastic, and I don't think there's anything for me to criticize with regard to how it's written. I am also intrigued by the fact that it's hard to distinguish with reality and fiction as far as Kai is concerned, although I am certain that Kai does have some sort of superpower, and I feel as though superpowers will come into play later on in the story. But Pebs, if you are watching, um, that is all I have to say about chapters 2 and 3. Please do send me chapters 4, 5, and 6, and when I find enough time, I will review them as well, let you know what I think in a video. I will be sending you this feedback via email, so please let me know what you think of it, what you plan on doing with this sort of story, what you have in mind. I know that you have written a lot of it already, so please do not spoil anything for me. But if you have any questions with which I can help give you some advice to make the story even better, in my opinion, just let me know in an email or in the comment section down below. For everyone else, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, comment, share, subscribe. Take a look at the rest of my content because why not? It's absolutely amazing. Um, Thank you so much for watching. I plan on making one more video today about this book, The Lost Gifts of the Universe. I have about 60 pages to go, more or less. So stay tuned for that if I do actually finish it. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one, hopefully very, very soon. Bye, guys.